In this video, we're going to be showing you how to place an order.
Let's start with a quick overview how to place an order. Let's click the shopping cart. I can search for the customer, but I'm going to type one that I already know is in the system. I'm going to highlight their name, click place an order. And at this point, I can start scanning my products if I have them, or I can right click and pick lenses. Let's make an order for a pair of contact lenses. So I'm going to right click. Let's say we want this Bosch and Long contact lenses. Suppose we want one box of this. Let's say 2 boxes. Buy this item. I'm going to put a lab tray number. And I'm going to take some sort of payment. So I can click on your payment history. I'm going to choose how we're going to pay. I'm going to choose, say, Visa. And when I'm ready to print, I just click on Done and Print. And that's all there is to it. Let's do another order. Except on this order, I'm going to make it for a pair of glasses with a different customer. So here's another customer. They're already in the system. I'm going to scan out some products using my barcode scanner. And I'm going to take some lenses from the choice of lenses. So I'm going to use, say, Kodak lenses. And let's say we want some anti-reflective coating. So I'll go to our lens options. And let's take this sapphire coating. And I can put a lab tray number. And I want to take some sort of payment. So I can click payment history. And I can choose if we're going to pay in full or partial or an arbitrary amount. Let's say they want to pay $250 by MasterCard. And then we're going to click on Done. So that's how you get a basic order into the system. The next step, we're going to show you, or we're going to explain the next part of the video, how to look at this part of the order screen and the details of it, and slow it down a bit, but to give you a good idea of what each part of this screen entails.
Begin, click on the shopping cart, and the system is going to prompt you to search for the customer, so type in their phone number. So if I type a phone number, or part of it, it automatically chooses the search type. So if we start typing a last name, say Martin, you can see this search type changes by itself. So we can select from the list, or if the customer is not in the list, the system will prompt you to create a new record. You can, if you right away know that the customer is not in the list, you can click the new customer button below. I'm going to do that right now. And it's going to ask you to create a family or individual. A family basically allows you to add 5 family members or multiple members that have common information, like a common last name or common address or both. So for now I'm going to use individual. I'm just going to fill in the blank sort of thing here. And you're going to put an address. And I'm going to put a phone number here. As we started a phone number before, it's still remembering that, so I'm just going to add the remaining part. If it's a cell phone number, you're going to ask the person, hey, are we allowed to text you? Do you mind if we text you? If they say yes, I put a check mark here. I can type in the cell phone number. If this happens to be a cell phone number, I can click on copy. If it's a landline, we can just leave it the way it is. You can put the dashes in if you want, or it doesn't really matter. For now, I'm going to say this is not a cell phone. So I'm going to go next. It's asking to enter insurance information. So if you have insurance information, you can go ahead and enter that now. Pick a provider from the list, type their policy information, and click on Add Policy. But I'm going to leave this blank because I'm going to go to the next part. Now we have the medical records. So we fill in the details here. It's again like fill in the blank type of thing. Let's suppose the birthday of the person is today, but it's from 1970. Let's put a date of the prescription. If I have the prescription data, I can enter it now, or I can enter it later. I'm going to enter it now. Let's make this an OU prescription, and I can put a PD here, or I can enter it later. So I'm going to enter it later. If I have the doctor's information, I can select from the list, or I can click on Add Doctor and fill in the details. Okay. Or if I want to neutralize that prescription, I can leave the first line blank and click on Finished. Okay, so here's our order. It's continued as if the search was completed for Tom Martin. I'm going to click on the Place an Order button. Now, just before I continue, we also have a cash sale button, a repair button. Repair means if you're not really placing an order, someone just came in, something broke, and they're just doing a repair, you can use this button for that. The status will say it was a repair. Cash sale basically means if you just want to get to the order screen very quickly and you don't really care about the customer, or you're selling something small like a spray bottle or cleaning cloth or some item which you don't need the customer's information, you can choose the cash sale button. But in this case, for normal orders, most orders, I'm going to click place an order. Okay, so we have the order screen up, everything's filled in, the prescription's filled in. So next thing I want to do on this yellow area here, I'm going to just scan my barcode for my products. Just before I do that, let's sort of take a look at what we've got around here. We've got a ribbon here at the top. This allows us, this section is called prescription, this section is called record. So look at the section titles if you observe those. So anything to do with orders, like if you want to notify the customer about orders here, or you want to see the customer's old orders, they're here. Alright. We have other little tabs at the top, like anything to do with the status of the order, anything to lab related items. Okay, including seeing if any documents from the lab. You can scan an invoice for an order from the lab. You can scan a document here with the cloud services, which you can see in another video. At the end of the day, if you want to run sales reports related to orders, you can do that. If you want to do anything to do with payments about this order, you can look in the payment section, or anything to do with inventory before placing an order. But for now, we're just going to keep it on the main ribbon. If you want to make a new medical record, you can click on, again, under prescriptions, new. Or if you want to modify this existing one, you can click modify. Okay. Now, if the prescription is expired, you'll see a yellow exclamation mark right beside the RX symbol. Okay. Now, this button here is kind of the same as swapping between these two. So if the prescription is expired and I click this button, it will ask me, do you want to create a new prescription? If the prescription is not expired, this button kind of acts like a modify. Okay, so it's kind of a special. So if I click it, you can see now I'm modifying the existing prescription. But it's kind of a special button. Alright, it's a shortcut. Beside that, we have the prescription. If it's a full prescription, this is what it would look like if we changed it, like to an intermediate reading, or just a distance prescription. Right now it's full. So if I were to modify this prescription, let's put an ad of, say, 225 and finished. So let's suppose I want to see a reading prescription. You can see it modifies it. Obviously, those are going to cancel each other out. I did that deliberately. If we want an intermediate prescription, this is what intermediate would look like, or a distance prescription, only this, or a full prescription. So you'll get those options selected when you actually choose the purpose of the lens next. So let's go ahead and, before we scan anything, let's pick some lenses. So we can right click on this area, and these are our lenses. Now your list is going to look different than mine. So you can pick a lens. Okay, let's say we want a Kodak SV. Let's take this first one. And you'll see there's this code here is called a skew. You can click buy. Now it's asking us, what do we want to do with the lens? The reason why this thing popped up, do you want to be distance, reading? What is this for? So let's suppose this is for distance. And click on OK. Now if this was not a prescription that had ad power, that would not have popped up. I'll show you that after. So next, what we're going to do is, if we want any options, we can again right click. Here are lens options. So let's suppose we wanted this Crizell Sapphire. Okay. And let's go ahead and scan our frame. Now, if you have a barcode scanner, you can simply take your barcode scanner and scan the label. And there you have it. Now, if you don't have a barcode scanner, I'm going to remove this line item by clicking remove. We know the code is OCH 8105. I can type OCH 81, even part of it, press enter. It's going to ask you want to search for the item, press enter. Now, do you want to see if they're in stock items only, or if you don't care? If they're in stock only, it's going to look for anything that has quantity 1 or greater. I'm okay with that, so press enter. So now you see this form is already here. It's actually typed the model number here. If I press enter, it's going to actually start searching for it. So let's do that. So here's the item. Great. So we can select this item, and here's the SKU, and we can buy it. Okay. Now, if you press enter a bunch of times, I'll just do that again, you notice everything was entered. The enter button was always the key here. So I press enter quickly, you'll get the item for you. So it's my mistake. OHC8. There we go. So as you can see, I can sort of go through the SKUs. Now it's a little bit harder to have to always type things, so our recommendation is always use a barcode scanner. As you see, I fumbled through getting that because I flipped it around. But once you're here, you can use that as well. Another problem with not using a barcode scanner is sometimes you might have multiple items, and it is possible you have colors like silver and one says pewter. And they both are kind of similar, so which one is it? So a barcode always resolves, but when you do it manually, you'll have to manually pick it. As you can see, here's a color code here. Okay, if I press Control Enter, it will pick it for me, and of course I can press Enter once more. It will pick the item for me. It's the same as the buy button, but you get the idea there. So as you can see, there's a running total on the right hand side. If you wanted to discount this item, you could right click on a line item and select discount. You can increase the price if you need to, or you can decrease the price. And you have a choice of here using a percentage, dollars off, or you can set the price to a specific value. So if I want to say take 25% off of this frame only, I can do that. This will be my new price. So I can say apply. Right? If you don't want to do it off the lens, you say, you know what? I just want the total. I'm going to click total. This is going to apply. Just blank it out. This is the original. If I just want the whole total to be $500, and I don't really care how it does a discount, I can click here on the right side, total discount, set my total to $500, and apply. And that's it. So you can see, if you look carefully, it's taking a discount off of each line item to equal a total of $500. We also have another thing called Inline Comments, so let's make this thing a little bit wider. As you can see, it's a distance prescription, so put a comment for me before. But let's suppose you want to write something about this frame, about maybe that has a warranty or limited time offer or something, and you wanted to put a limited time offer in line with this line item. So I can click on Inline Comments and I can type whatever I want. So let's suppose limited warranty and say 1 year. Or say 6 months. Some special situation. So you'll see it will put it in line with the line item. Of course, you can always use the comment area to type whatever comments you have about this order. So that's that. But if you just wanted to be specifically on that one line, you could do that. Okay. We also have something called a tray number here. So we can put our lab tray. All our lab trays should be numbered. So I'm going to put a tray number, 320 is my number. And we also have private notes. Like if you want to put that limited warranty in the comment section here, by all means you could do that. But if you wanted to write something very specific about this order that does not print on the invoice, you're going to click on your order notes. So I can add it, a note, and I'm going to write customer complaint. This customer is very picky about the way the frame sits. Alright, so we can add a note. So when we close this little window, you'll see this little gray dot appear. That tells us that there's a note available. And perhaps if you're a salesperson, you should review these notes. Okay, customer complaint. That's it. Now again, this does not print. These are private notes. You could add other notes as well, specific to the order, by clicking tray notes. It will actually put a special order note, but these are very specific tray notes. And this you can, if you wanted to on your invoice, print tray notes in the comment section. So these tray notes are, again, special type of notes. So anything about the frame, if you want to insert a comment, like the size, it's auto-generated here, or any other comment, you can type that in this section here. I can click on save, or in this case I'm not going to do it. And that's it. We're ready to take some payment. So I'm going to click on payment history. Normally a lot of stores take a 50% deposit, so we have these buttons here. These are pre-calculated buttons. If I click 50%, you can see it automatically puts it in half. If I want to just arbitrarily type whatever value I want, I can just type in say $200. Auto detect here is the payment types. If we had a payment terminal hooked up to the machine, it would actually try to communicate with the payment terminal. So instead of you going on your machine and typing $200, it will talk to the terminal and enter it for you. And it will, when the transaction is done and it gets approved, it will come back telling you the type of card that was used and if it was accepted or if it was denied, and it will tell you the approval code. Okay, but for now I'm just going to say interact. As you can notice, this list is alphabetical order. You could also type, like if you click here, I can type Visa, and it will pick it from the list. So next we add our payment and close the window, and you can see there's a balance here. And when we're ready, we click on Done. So when we click on Done, it's going to show me PD not found. So we're going to click on OK. And let's enter the PD by clicking the PD button. So I'm going to say it's, say, 62. If I press Tab, it'll split in half. Okay. You can, of course, just type them individually as well. Seg height, if you're missing here, it will also tell you the seg height's missing. If you have it, you can type it here. Click on OK. And just click on Done. So when we're ready to print, you see no errors here. We just go ahead and click on Print. And that's it. So I'm just going to preview this, since you won't see what's actually coming out of my printer. And here's our order on the screen. Okay, so the top copy goes to the customer. This middle copy here goes in your lab tray, and this little area at the bottom, you tear this thing off, and this becomes a lab tray label. Okay, and you tear this off with your cutter, and you fold it on this line, so you can sort of see this sort of square that would go on your lab tray. And that's all there is to placing an order. You can also see customers' old orders. Just if I click the old order button, of course the old order in this case is this order. Okay, you can also reorder line items from these old orders too. So if I'm creating a new order, let's go ahead and create a new order for this person. And if I wanted to use a line item, like let's suppose they want to reorder this Kodak lens, I could reorder this item, and you can see it types that same thing here, the SKU. And I can choose to say this is a reading glasses, and you can see the prescription automatically changes. Obviously, you can zero it out, and of course I can choose my frames and stuff like that. One more thing I didn't show you, if I click these squares here, this is kind of like right-clicking, and to get my menu, I can always pick from here. So if I have a bunch of lens options that I'm trying to pick, I can always choose multiple. Like if I want, say, this and say this one, you'll pick them both at the same time. All right. Another interesting thing we can do is we also use something called package deals. So if I want a single vision lens, I want AR coating and some anti-reflective coating, some scratch coating as well, I can click your package deal. I can select a package. So this is called SV 1.5. And click on OK, and it will pick all those line items for me. Now, of course, it's going to pop up since it's a lens. What my use of the lens, I'm going to say, was reading. Okay. Now, since I know it was called SV 1.5, I could, just like in Excel, say equals SV 1 point, even part of the name. I'll just give me SV1. Press Enter, and it's going to do all those things for me as well. Okay. And that's all you have. That's it. That's how you can create an order. It's really quick and easy. So let's show what's happens after the order. So let's suppose this order is done. We're going to click on View Order Status. This customer comes in. The tray was 320 was a tray number. I'm going to view this order. And when they're ready to pick up, I click the Delivered button. Okay, you can see there's a balance on this order of $300. They paid me last time by Visa. Let's suppose they want to pay me by Visa again. Close the window, and that's it. It's done. So you can see here the status changed to delivered and the date. Now, if you want to do a refund, let's suppose a customer doesn't want this order and they want to refund it, you can always click the refund button, and you can select a particular line item, and you can give a partial refund on that line item by clicking the partial button, or you can just highlight the item and just click on refund. So it will refund that particular line item. So if I modify this order and I want to do a refund only on the frame, I'm going to highlight this. um, click the refund button. You can see it copies it back at the below, and you can see my order total starts to be having a negative value, meaning I'm returning that frame. So what I would do is I would pay that, I would refund that negative value, I'll give it back to the Visa, add that payment. The balance will be 0 and done. So I'm going to show you what that invoice will look like. Although you don't see it on the screen, the invoice will actually have the refunded item. So if I zoom in here, you can see it's right here, refund. Okay. So you can always reprint this invoice. It will show you the payment history as well. So this is the original payment. This is a refunded Visa. All right. So we'll put that as well. You could also do something called an exchange. So if we create a new order and we want a refund with reference to this order number, you can create a brand new order and perform a refund based upon on a new order based upon an existing order. That's what you would do in the case of an exchange. It's the same process. You'd say refund, you would select the order number, which is this guy here. You copy it, or if you didn't know it, you could just always just search for the order. Okay, you'd load it up. It'll load up all these details, and you can perform the refund based upon that as well. It's the same process, except this information is obtained by using the order number and clicking load. That's all. So this top half gets reloaded. And that's all there is about creating a refund. Now, if I don't want the refund, I'm going to modify this. In this case, I can delete that refund, which was this item here. Remove. And now we're going to be owing money because obviously we had this negative value. Delete that. See, my balance is back to 0. And there we have it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.